Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are in Westerville, Ohio at the First Responders Park. This is a memorial park for those who were involved with the terrorist attacks that occurred September 11th, 2001. This entire park here is a dedicated memorial, and today we're here to document and pay our respects. Let's check out this park here. Just behind the park, there is a parking lot here where you can park and come over and visit the park itself. But right here on the wall is some plaques that talks a little bit about to those who helped us honor the first responders. It says, "You are now part of a site that will stand as a beacon of peace and protection, and a symbol that true heroism lives forever. We thank you for your vision and your support." Westerville's First Responders Park was first dedicated in 2010 to honor our first responders. In 2019, the park was expanded to further serve the community of Westerville, the Central Ohio region, and all first responders by honoring their courage and resilience. Centerpiece to this park has always been and remains a section of steel known as C40 from the North Tower of the World Trade Center that fell during the terrorist attack on September 11th, 2001. The memorial wall and foundation carry the names of our local heroes. The crossing, a sculpture that honors fallen Westerville firefighter David Thiessen, proudly stands in the southwest corner of the park. In 1998, David, who was killed while battling a fire in Crooksville, Ohio. On February 10th, 2018, Westerville Division of Police officers Anthony Morelli and Eric Joring were killed in the line of duty. They are the names of our fallen first responders. Together they represent the service and sacrifice in public safety. May we never forget. Okay, so these are just contributions to the park here. All these plaques are different companies who have donated a lot of money into this park here, from $50,000 to $100,000. Hill International, McGill Smith, Punch-On, Mount Carmel Health Systems, Ohio Health, Pat Tiberi, POD Design, and the list just goes on. So a lot of time, money, and dedication have gone into this park. This is pretty much what this whole section is here. Much like the 9/11 memorial we visited down in Beaver Creek, Ohio, this park here is pretty similar to that. However, this park has a few things that the one in Beaver Creek does not. There is an eternal flame, there's a waterfall, but one of the most important things they have on display here is an actual steel beam from one of the twin towers itself. And we're going to figure out which one it was from. We're going to explore the park here and talk a little bit about the history of this place. This is the entrance to the park, coming from the parking lot, and these cement slabs here. One says honor. It's got the Westerville police being there when needed. It says, "Police in valor, there is hope. We are the thin blue line." It says loyalty there. We have service, valor, Westerville 911 communications right there. It says communications, a calm voice in the midst of chaos. We are the thin gold line. Here we have dedication, integrity, courage, and this here is the chaplain's comfort, counsel, care for first responders and community. So that must be the symbol for chaplains. This says empathy on it, sacrifice, compassion, and then right here is the City of Westerville Rescue, Fire, EMS, protecting lives and property. We are the thin red line. This plaque here on the wall talks about both displays. The steel beam from the Twin Towers and also the statue of David Thyssen. It says, on February 5th, 1998, the Westerville Fire Division experienced the loss of 29-year-old career firefighter David Thyssen, who was killed in his hometown of Crooksville, Ohio, while fighting a house fire during volunteer duty. Thyssen was beloved by many, having also served with Worthington, Plain Township, and Madison Township fire departments. Led by founder Thomas Ulam, a Westerville firefighter medic, a committee of citizens and city officials decided that a firefighter memorial in tribute to Thyssen would provide firefighters as well as the public with an inspirational and healing setting in which to celebrate achievements and contemplate losses experienced by this dedicated group. Furthermore, such a memorial would honor all the courageous men and women who serve or have served their communities. This nonprofit organization, Westerville Firefighters Memorial, was formed and worked to create a firefighters memorial in Westerville. Through the generous donations of many, this memorial was built to honor the past, present, and future firefighters and is dedicated to those who have made the ultimate sacrifice. So that's a little bit about David Thyssen. And at the bottom it says, after September 11th, 2001, Ulam worked to obtain a piece of steel from the World Trade Center. In 2009, after 7 years of determination, a piece of steel known as C-40 was obtained from the New York, New Jersey Port Authority from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, where it had been kept as part of the federal investigation into the collapse of the towers. We will never forget. There's a rock down here that says, God bless our firefighters. But over here to my right is the statue of David Thyssen. And it's a really big monument here. That's really neat. Man. I don't think there's anything on the back here. Yeah, no. That's what that little plaque was saying, that it's pretty much a memorial here for David Thyssen. Man, rest in peace, David Thyssen. And standing right here next to the flag stands, ladies and gentlemen, a piece of American history. This is called the C-40. This beam was in the North Tower, the World Trade Center. The one in Beaver Creek is gated off. You can't really get to it. I mean, you can if you go over the little bar, but this one right here is just out in the open for anyone to touch. Man, it's like you got some rocks and stuff in there. But this thing is tall. It's bent. Yeah, you can see the C-40 right there. There is a plaque talking about this too, but I kind of just want to touch it. Oh man. September 11th, 2001. A day that America will never forget. And here I am touching a piece of history. That, ladies and gentlemen, is absolutely mind-blowing. And furthermore, I would just like to say rest in peace to all those that passed away during that tragic event. There are countless documentaries going over that tragic day. And I remember where I was at. I was 9 years old and I was in 3rd grade. And I remember hearing about it, but I didn't think anything of it until one of my friend's moms come to pick him up from school, and she was just in tears. I guess she had heard on the radio that the Twin Towers were attacked. And then, you know, the rest is history. We found out about it, watched it on the news. I remember where I was at. Leave a comment down below and let me know where you were at when you first heard about the towers getting attacked. But again, I'd just like to say rest in peace to all those involved. Here are the plaques on the wall across from the steel beam. We honor and remember brave and innocent lives lost at the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. We will never forget. Flight 11, that is where C-40, that's where that beam was. It was right above where Flight 11 went into the building. And there's Flight 175 going into Tower 2, the 78th to 84th floors. And then Flight 11 here, the 94th to 98th floors. Wow. This board here talks about the actual C-40 steel beam. It says, this piece of steel known as C-40 was obtained from the New York, New Jersey Port Authority from the National Institute of Standards and Technology, where it was studied as part of the federal investigation into the collapse of the towers. And right over here to the right says C-40 from the World Trade Center Tower 1 spanned the 9,801 floors of the north face. It weighs approximately 2.3 tons and is 18 feet in length. C-40 was located just above the impact site of American Airlines Flight 11, a Boeing 767, the first hijacked terrorist plane that crashed into the tower that day, carrying 76 passengers, 11 crew members, and 5 terrorists. The piece of steel that stands today in this place was obtained from the New York, New Jersey Port Authority and National Institute of Standards and Technology, where it was stored after September 11th, 2001. This piece and many others were part of the investigation into the collapse of the towers. With the leadership of Patrick Tiberi, a former U.S. Congressman, Kathy Kikuzi, and Thomas C. Ulam, Westerville residents, and Michael Hooper, Westerville staff member, traveled to New Jersey to select this piece for our community and this park. May we never forget. The naming of the World Trade Center steel, there were 4 major sites where debris from the World Trade Center buildings was shipped during the cleanup effort. The C was for Claremont Terminal in Jersey City. 40 meant that it was the 40th piece saved from this site. And here is the photo of where the plane went into the building. C-40 was just above, right there. Wow. This board here talks about the timeline of the events that occurred that day. You can go and find this information online from 7:59 a.m. until 11:28. But yeah, those are the information boards here, right in front of the steel beam here. Wow. Claremont piece number 40. Huh. That is very interesting. And just over here is this beautiful, beautiful little waterfall. And they even have like a bench here that you can sit here and listen to the water. It says, "We honor those who have fallen in the line of duty." There are some names here on the back of it. Firefighter David Theisen, last alarm February 5th, 1998. Officer Anthony Morelli, end of watch February 10th, 2018. Officer Eric Joring, end of watch February 10th, 2018. And it looks like that is the last of it there. But there are things here that people have left. There's some coins, some flowers, some of these little clear things. There's looks like a button. People have left rocks. Taking first responders from hurting to healing is what that says. Man, I absolutely love this. I bet this is beautiful at night. But wow. And then right over here we have the eternal flame over here in this corner. That is beautiful. This whole park is just beautiful. Like, the people that created this and donated to this park and designed this park did a very, very good job in honoring everyone involved with this. This is just a walkway here. It's a circle. It circles back around into the center of the park here. This is a beautiful little park. And it's kind of in a quiet residential area. It sits next to a fire department. The fire department has already left once. They had their sirens going. But yeah, this is First Responders Park here in Westerville. Ladies and gentlemen, this is like I said, a beautiful little park, a beautiful little memorial park. So before I came here to this park, I did stop at the First Responders Park in Hilliard, which is probably 15-20 minutes from here. There's also another steel beam from the trade centers at that park as well, and I wanted to document that. But as soon as I pulled up to the park, it was gated off. So I don't know if they're doing any kind of reconstruction or cleaning up the place, but it was completely fenced off. I couldn't get in, and I was having trouble trying to find a place to park. It looked like there was some kind of community yard sale or something going on, because the streets were packed. There was people everywhere, and unfortunately I did not get to document that piece of history over there. So sometime soon I'll keep checking back, and sometime soon I'll go back and document the history over at that park as well, because I'm really curious to see what that piece of steel is from. I know it's from the World Trade Center, but I'm just curious to know which which one it's from, the history of it, and what all that park has over there as far as history. So I decided to come here and document this park here in Westerville. I wanted to document them together and do a whole video, but like I said, unfortunately the one over in Hilliard is closed, but this park here is absolutely amazing. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to conclude today's video here at the First Responders Park in Westerville, Ohio. The memorial dedicated to those involved with the September 11th, 2001 terrorist attack. Like I said, I remember where I was at when that whole situation occurred. I was in school, I was 9 years old, and I'm curious to see what you guys were doing during that time. Much like the one in Beaver Creek, this one here is very emotional. You know, being able to touch the actual beam itself, like, it gave me goosebumps. Knowing the history of everything that occurred that day. And it just makes me incredibly sad. But I am very glad that they have a memorial here to pay tribute to those involved and stuff, you know? It's just, it's wild to think about. The one in Beaver Creek, I like that one. It's very nice, and it's different than this one. This one's got the giant statue of David Theisen. It's got the waterfall and then the eternal flame over there. The one down in Beaver Creek has like cement pillars, and it shows you the location of where the planes hit the towers. I'll put a link down below. You can go and check out that video as well. Yeah, it's crazy. And I recently took a trip to New York City with family, and I did go up top of the One Trade Center, the new building, and I got to visit Ground Zero and see where the towers were and the waterfalls and all that stuff. It was very, very emotional. Yeah, it's crazy to think about, for sure. But this video is dedicated to all those involved in the 2001 terrorist attack. Rest in peace. You are loved, you are missed, and it's an event that should definitely not have ever occurred in U.S. history. So we're gonna end things here, ladies and gentlemen. I really appreciate you watching today, and as always, be safe, take care, peace out, and we'll see you on the next one, ladies and gentlemen.